Well, if you are always complaining about a lack of intimacy in your relationship and find yourself saying things like, I want intimacy, but he doesn't, you are TRASHtionalizing. That is, making excuses for what doesn't feel good and twisting the truth, rather than being brave enough to face it. Well, we've got life coach and author Chandra here to take the mystery out of the lies that we tell ourselves. And today's TRASHtionalization, I want intimacy, he doesn't. You hear that a lot, don't you?
I think that's the big one, don't you?
It is a big one, yes. Yes. Well, what is intimacy? It's not just the act of having sex.
No, it's really not. I think it's a body, mind, and spirit connection. It's, you know, you and I were talking about it before. What really is it? You know, when you're intimate with somebody, it's like they sort of have entree into a certain part of you that you don't let anyone else see. And the interesting thing about intimacy is that you're not going to let somebody get close to you unless you're close to you. Because simply by proximity, when someone gets close to you, they're going to look inside. And if you're not comfortable with what's in there, you're going to push them away. And that's why we have the dance of intimacy.
Right. Okay. Well, let's start with how we get this. Ask yourself, how long are you going to complain? So if you don't have intimacy,
well,
how long do you put up with that?
Well, I told you many years ago when I had a relationship that I complained about this, and it was a very significant one. I complained for almost 7 years. And when I finally realized that if I wanted intimacy, I had to take responsibility for that, and I couldn't make someone be something or do something that they didn't want to do. And I was sort of working it out afterwards and getting some help. I had thought, you know, this is really not a good match. You know, I'm so deep and I have the ability to be so intimate, and obviously he doesn't.
Right.
And during the therapy, it hit me, you know what? While I was with him, it was a perfect match. I couldn't do it any better than he could do it, because if I could have really done it, would I have stayed for 7 years and complained about it the entire time? So if you're complaining and it's year after year after year and you find yourself saying the same stuff,
right,
you know, it's time to stop.
Yeah, it's your issue.
It's your issue,
okay.
Yeah.
Intimacy is not just about sex, it's about having a real connection.
It's about having a real connection. It's not just about sex. I think that being sexually intimate with someone and letting someone close to you physically is certainly part of it. But all of us have had relationships where we have that chemistry, but we don't have the rest.
Right.
So it's the whole package. It's the physical intimacy, but it's the mental, emotional, spiritual. It's having that connection with somebody.
Why are you staying in a cold and distant relationship? That's a good question.
Well, the emphasis is on you. It's not on the other person. What we end up doing is we end up looking at the other person and saying, he can't do it. She doesn't have the ability to do it. But the real key here is to say to yourself, if you really want something warm and fuzzy and you really want to stay connected and you know that this is not giving you what you want, why are you staying in a cold, distant relationship?
Right.
This is something that you need to ask yourself.
Okay, I don't understand the next one. We pull a match for our vibration. Explain that for me.
Well, we pull a match for a vibration. Every single one of us has an energy. We have an energy that goes out ahead of us in the room. So, for example, if you think there are no good men out there, guess what? When you go out there,
there won't be.
None of the good men are going to be drawn to you. You understand?
Right.
So if what you want is intimacy, if you're not willing to put up with any BS, if you really want to get close to somebody and you put that vibration out, when you meet someone and you feel that someone is shut down, that someone really doesn't want to connect with you, you're immediately going to get it because you're connected to your vibration.
Right.
So you have to realize that when you have a relationship in your life and you're not getting intimacy, that relationship is a mirror of your vibration. It's a mirror of who you are. And it's a way for you to really see yourself. Rather than looking at the other person, you need to look to yourself. You pull a vibration for who you are.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
There you go. Do you understand it now? There you go.
I sure do. And continuing in a superficial relationship is a choice.
Right. What you have to realize is, sort of playing off the cold, distant relationship, if you feel that this is a superficial relationship, this is a relationship where someone really doesn't know who you are and you really don't know who somebody else is, you have to realize you are making a choice by staying there, if only by default. You know, when you stay somewhere and you're not getting what you want, you are making a choice. And you create the universe by the choices that you make. And you need to take a look at that.
Don't you build up intimacy over time? I mean, you shouldn't be bearing your whole soul right off the bat, should you?
Well, I think there's a difference between being intimate with someone and letting it grow incrementally, and hanging out your dirty laundry on the first date. You know, you don't want to sit down and tell somebody absolutely everything about your life. It's not appropriate.
Right.
But as you spend time with someone, you need to feel like there's a closeness that's developing, that something is growing. If you feel that the opposite is happening, that's the opposite of being intimate and getting close.
What if you really have a lot of faith in your partner and you know that it's somewhere in there and they're just having a hard time coming to terms with their feelings and letting it out, and you feeling safe with them? Is it something that you can work on? Is it something that couples therapy can help bring that out?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily couples therapy.
Okay. Individual.
Yeah, being intimate is a choice that we make with ourselves. If you wait for the other person to do it first, you're always going to lose.
Right.
You have to want to be open. You have to want to be close and intimate. When you do it first, when you open, when you don't have another agenda, when you're not going tit for tat, you really want to be close to someone, and you find that that feeling is not forthcoming from your partner after a while. That's a good time for you to take a look at it and decide, am I just complaining? Is this someone who can do it at some point?
Right.
Or am I really just knocking my head against the wall?
And it sure helps to verbalize it too, doesn't it? I mean, rather than just staying quiet about it and complaining and stewing for 7 years, talk to your partner. Well, are you always complaining about a lack of intimacy in your relationship? Do give us a call at 1-800-664-8808 and talk to Chandra.